Ethan Vance had been exploring Zyphera for almost a week now. The planet was unlike anything he had ever seen. Trees with leaves glowing faintly in blue and green stretched high into the violet sky, and rivers sparkled as though filled with tiny stars. The air smelled sweet, with hints of minerals and unknown flowers, and the ground beneath his boots pulsed slightly as if alive. Zyphera was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. Every rustle in the bushes could mean a predator, and every ripple in the water could hide a deadly creature. Ethan had learned to move quietly, keeping his senses alert. He adjusted his backpack and peered through the dense foliage. His mission was simple on paper: catalog the planet's wildlife and report back to Earth. But in reality, it was far more complicated. Every animal, every plant seemed to have an edge, some ability that humans had never encountered. He had to be careful. A sudden splash from a nearby river broke his concentration. Ethan froze. The sound was frantic, desperate. His heart thumped in his chest. He didn't hesitate. Without thinking about the dangers, he sprinted toward the riverbank. The tall grass pressed against his legs, slowing him slightly, but he ignored it. At the edge of the river he saw it, a creature thrashing in the water. It looked like a leopard, but unlike any leopard he had ever seen. Its fur, or perhaps it was scales, glimmered with shifting colors, reflecting the dim sunlight that filtered through Zyphera's canopy. Its eyes were wide and panicked, glowing faintly in hues of gold and green. Ethan didn't wait. He dove into the water, feeling the icy current tug at him. The river was deeper than it seemed. The creature was panicking, thrashing violently, trying to stay afloat. Its claws glinted dangerously, and Ethan had to be careful not to get injured. He reached out, grabbing the alien leopard just behind its shoulders. "Easy, easy now," he whispered, trying to calm it with the softest tone he could manage. The creature's powerful legs kicked against him, and water splashed everywhere, but Ethan held on. Using all his strength, he pushed toward the riverbank. Finally, with a last heave, he dragged the creature onto solid ground. Gasping for breath, both of them lay there for a moment. The alien leopard's chest rose and fell rapidly. Ethan examined it quickly. There were no visible injuries, but it was shivering. He knew that being in cold water like that could be dangerous. "All right, you're safe now," Ethan said, kneeling beside it. He reached into his pack and pulled out a thermal blanket, carefully wrapping the creature. The alien leopard blinked at him, tilting its head, curious but cautious. Its eyes held intelligence, a spark Ethan did not expect. He had dealt with dangerous animals before, but this felt different. He pulled out a small multi-tool and some antiseptic gel, just in case. Even though it wasn't injured, he wanted to make sure it stayed safe. He carefully cleaned its paws, noticing faint scratches on its legs. "Looks like you had a rough day," he murmured. The creature purred, a sound that was almost musical. Ethan had never heard anything like it. After a few minutes, the alien leopard calmed down enough for him to stand. Ethan helped it to its feet, and it shook water from its shimmering body. For a moment, it looked at him as if assessing whether he was a friend or a threat. Then, it nuzzled his hand softly. Ethan froze, surprised. This was no ordinary animal. It was intelligent, aware, and capable of forming trust. Ethan smiled faintly, his heart warming. "I guess we're friends now," he said. He pulled out a small container of synthesized protein paste from his pack, offering it to the alien leopard. It sniffed the food cautiously before eating, its tail swishing in what Ethan guessed was contentment. As he watched the creature eat, Ethan's mind raced. He had never encountered an animal like this. Its fur, or scales, were covered in tiny patterns that seemed almost like symbols. They shimmered and changed colors slightly as it moved. He took out his scanner, pointing it at the leopard to gather data. The device beeped and hummed, reading off strange energy signatures he had never seen before. Ethan's brow furrowed. "What are you?" he whispered. The creature finished its meal and sat back, licking its paws delicately. Its gaze met his, and for a moment Ethan felt as if it were looking right into his mind. A shiver ran down his spine. This was more than an animal. Suddenly, the alien leopard made a soft noise, almost like a whistle. Ethan flinched, then listened closely. The sound repeated in a pattern. He pulled out his translator device, which could interpret tones and rhythms, and fed the sound into it. The device hummed and blinked. A garbled voice came out, fragmented but understandable. "Help, hide, danger." Ethan's eyes widened. Danger. Here now, he glanced around. The jungle seemed calm, but he knew appearances could be deceiving. The planet was full of predators and hostile species. Something was coming, and the alien leopard was warning him. He stood quickly, scanning the dense forest. In the distance, he could hear faint rustling, almost like branches breaking under heavy footsteps. Ethan's heart raced. He had faced dangerous creatures before, but nothing had prepared him for the unknown intelligence he was now protecting. "All right, we need to move," he said to the leopard. The creature seemed to understand, rising to its feet gracefully. Together, they moved through the jungle, Ethan leading cautiously while the alien followed. Its glowing eyes helped light the way through the thick undergrowth. As they walked, Ethan noticed something strange. Tiny mechanical implants ran along the leopard's spine, almost invisible unless you looked closely. They pulsed faintly with light. "What are you hiding?" Ethan murmured. The creature glanced back at him as if acknowledging the question but didn't answer. Hours passed, and the jungle began to change. Trees became taller and more twisted, vines thicker and more entangled. Strange sounds echoed around them, calls of creatures that Ethan didn't recognize, some melodic, others harsh. The alien leopard moved with surprising agility, navigating the terrain effortlessly. Ethan, in contrast, struggled, but he was determined to keep up. Finally, they reached a small clearing near a waterfall. The water cascaded into a crystal-clear pool, glowing softly in the dim light. Ethan motioned for the leopard to rest. He knelt beside the pool, catching his breath. The creature sat beside him, calm now, its bioluminescent patterns flickering in the reflection of the water. Ethan leaned back, feeling a mix of exhaustion and awe. "You're incredible," he said softly. He looked at the alien leopard and then at the implants along its spine. There was more to this creature than met the eye. He had rescued it from the river, but now he realized he might have also uncovered something much larger, a mystery of life, intelligence, and perhaps danger. As night fell, Zyphera's twin moons rose, casting silver light across the jungle. The alien leopard sat silently, watching the shadows. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He had saved a life, but now he wondered, what exactly had he saved? A sudden flash in the distance made him freeze. A shape moved quickly among the trees, fast and deliberate. Ethan's heart pounded. Whatever was out there, it was heading this way. He instinctively moved in front of the alien leopard, ready to protect it at all costs. The creature's eyes flickered nervously. Ethan could feel its tension. He knew that whatever was coming could be dangerous, but he also knew that humans had a way of facing the unknown with courage, resourcefulness, and quick thinking. He had survived countless dangerous missions on Earth and in space. He would not fail now. Ethan took a deep breath, his hands ready on his multi-tool. "Let's see what we're up against," he muttered. The alien leopard leaned close, brushing against him as if lending its silent support. Together, they faced the darkness of the jungle, a human and an alien, united in trust and determination. Suddenly, the rustling grew louder. Shadows shifted. Ethan turned sharply and froze. What he saw made his face go pale. It wasn't just a predator. It was something intelligent, something clearly aware of them. And yet, it hesitated. Ethan realized then that he had entered a much larger story than he had imagined. Saving this creature from drowning was only the beginning. Whatever came next would test not only his courage but the very essence of what made humans remarkable, their ingenuity, empathy, and unyielding spirit. He swallowed hard and whispered, All right, let's survive this together. The jungle seemed to hold its breath as the first part of Ethan's journey came to a tense, fragile pause. The jungle of Zyphera was alive in ways Ethan had never imagined. Strange calls echoed through the thick foliage, and the leaves above glowed faintly as if responding to their presence. The alien leopard, which Ethan now felt he could almost understand, moved gracefully beside him. Its glowing patterns pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, and Ethan could feel an intelligence behind those eyes that rivaled any human mind. He kept glancing at the implants along its spine. Small, delicate, yet obviously artificial, they emitted faint pulses. Ethan crouched by the creature and ran his fingers lightly over them. "What are you hiding?" he whispered again. The leopard's ears twitched at the sound of his voice, but it didn't move away. Instead, it gave a soft purr-like noise, almost reassuring him. Ethan decided to set up a temporary safe zone near the waterfall. He gathered sturdy branches, large leaves, and stones to create a small shelter. The alien leopard watched curiously, occasionally nudging materials Ethan placed incorrectly. He couldn't help but smile. Even with the danger around them, he felt a strange companionship forming. Once the shelter was ready, Ethan used his portable scanner to examine the leopard more closely. The device hummed and blinked, reading energy levels and biomechanical signals. His eyes widened as the data came in. The implants were connected to something deep inside the creature, something not natural, something intelligent. "Inside you, there's more than I thought," Ethan murmured. He hesitated for a moment, thinking of the possibilities. Could it be a spy of some kind? Or perhaps a messenger from a distant civilization? Whatever it was, the leopard wasn't just an animal. It was a living machine, a guardian of secrets perhaps millions of light years old. Suddenly, the leopard shifted in a way that made Ethan freeze. Its body trembled, then stretched, then bent, revealing a faint, humanoid shape within its frame. Ethan's heart raced. The animal form was a disguise, a camouflage for something more complex, more intelligent, and far more fragile than he had imagined. The alien's eyes, now partially human-like, locked onto Ethan's. "Do not hurt," came a whisper, not in words but in thought, somehow directly into his mind. Ethan stumbled back, pale and shocked. He had faced countless dangers in space, but nothing like this. A creature half-animal, half-alien intelligence, communicating directly into his mind, it was beyond comprehension. I won't hurt you," Ethan said carefully, though he knew the alien could hear him perfectly. "I just want to help." He extended his hand slowly. The creature hesitated, then touched his palm with one delicate, glowing finger. A spark ran through Ethan's body, not electricity, but a strange energy, almost like recognition. The alien leopard-human hybrid, as he now thought of it, began to speak more clearly, projecting simple words into his mind. "Hunters, they come, hide, trust." Ethan swallowed hard. "Hunters?" he asked aloud, even though he knew the alien could sense his thoughts. "Hunters of you." The alien's body tensed, and a low, vibrating sound escaped its throat. Ethan realized these weren't just hunters. They were intelligent, coordinated, and dangerous. Whatever species this hybrid came from, someone wanted it captured, perhaps for study, perhaps for something far worse. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He looked around the jungle. He needed to move quickly, but there was no safe place nearby. The river had currents too strong, the trees too dense. Then he noticed a faint path winding upward through the cliffs near the waterfall. It looked difficult, but it might provide a hiding place. "All right," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice calm. "We move." Now, the alien followed him, leaping over roots and rocks with incredible agility. Ethan kept up as best he could, using his strength, speed, and knowledge of terrain. He realized as he ran that humans had a natural edge: adaptability. While the alien was fast and strong, Ethan's mind worked in ways machines and instinct alone could not. He could plan, improvise, and predict. That was what might save them both. Halfway up the cliff, a loud roar echoed through the jungle. Ethan froze. The sound was terrifying, alien, and intelligent in its timing. The hunters had arrived. Shadows moved in the distance, shapes that were larger than the average Zyphera predator, but smaller than any giant creature Ethan had seen. They moved with coordination, surrounding the river area and scanning the jungle. "We need a distraction," Ethan whispered to himself. He quickly grabbed a few stones and tied them to vines. Using his multi-tool, he rigged a simple trap. The stones would fall, create noise, and pull the hunters' attention away from their path. The alien watched, seemingly approving, though it remained silent. Ethan set the trap, then led the alien to a hidden path behind a large boulder. They crouched low, hearts pounding. The hunters moved closer. Ethan could hear their strange, metallic footfalls and low growls. They were clearly looking for something, and they were getting closer. When the hunters reached the trap, Ethan triggered it. Stones tumbled down, vines snapping loudly. The hunters paused, confused, scanning the jungle in multiple directions. Ethan used the moment to pull the alien further up the cliff. "Almost there," he whispered. The alien's glowing eyes reflected trust and understanding. They reached a small cave opening halfway up the cliff. Ethan guided the alien inside. It was narrow but safe for the moment. He could see the hunters below, still searching, frustrated by the trap. Ethan exhaled slowly. They had survived the first encounter, but he knew it was only the beginning. Inside the cave, Ethan examined the alien more closely. He realized that the humanoid form was delicate and highly intelligent. Its body had structures similar to humans: hands, face, eyes, but the skin shimmered with the same bioluminescent patterns as its animal form. The implants along its spine were intricate, almost like a neural network, designed to enhance intelligence and perhaps survival. "Who are you?" Ethan whispered. The alien hesitated, then projected images into his mind, visions of a distant planet, cities of light, creatures living in harmony, suddenly disrupted by hunting machines and destruction. Ethan understood. This being had escaped persecution, hiding in animal form to survive. Ethan's heart ached. He had saved it from drowning, but now he realized the stakes were much higher. This wasn't just an animal in need. It was a sentient being, part of a civilization under threat. Humans had a chance to protect it, to do something heroic on a scale larger than any battlefield or space mission he had ever faced. Hours passed as they rested. Ethan shared some of his protein rations, and the alien carefully accepted them. They communicated slowly, exchanging thoughts, understanding each other better with each passing moment. Ethan felt a deep sense of connection. Humanity had a way of forming trust, even in the face of the unknown. He had done it countless times with teammates, explorers, and even wild animals. But this was different. This was life on a galactic scale. Suddenly, movement outside the cave caught Ethan's attention. The hunters were clever. They had begun to climb the cliffs, using tools and methods that were disturbingly intelligent. Ethan's mind raced. He had to think fast. "We need a plan," he whispered to the alien. The creature nodded, its glowing patterns flickering faster. It could see, sense, and perhaps anticipate the hunters, moves better than he could. Ethan realized that together, they had a chance. His human creativity and courage, combined with the alien's intelligence and agility, could overcome the threat. Ethan gathered loose rocks and sticks, setting small alarms along the cave entrance. They would fall, create noise, and mislead the hunters. Then he rigged a small rope system using vines, planning to swing down the cliff if necessary. The alien watched, seemingly understanding every step, ready to assist. Night fell, and the jungle became alive with nocturnal sounds. Ethan's pulse remained high, but he felt a sense of determination he hadn't felt before. Humanity had a unique gift, the ability to face impossible odds, to adapt, and to protect those who could not protect themselves. He would use that gift tonight. From the shadows, the hunters approached. Ethan held his breath. The alien crouched beside him. Time seemed to slow. Then, with a sharp crack, the first trap went off. Stones tumbled down, vines snapped, and the hunters paused, confused. Ethan motioned to the alien. It leapt gracefully, following him as they slipped through a narrow passage he had noticed earlier. They ran silently, moving through hidden paths and overgrown tunnels. Ethan marveled at the alien's abilities, yet he also felt pride in human skill. He had spotted dangers, created traps, and guided them both to safety. The partnership was seamless. By dawn, they emerged in a hidden valley, a peaceful place with soft grass, gentle streams, and towering trees. Ethan knelt, exhausted but relieved. The alien looked at him, its glowing patterns calming. Ethan realized that humans could survive anything with courage, intelligence, and empathy. He had saved a life and gained an ally in the vast universe. As he sat there catching his breath, Ethan whispered, "We did it together." The alien responded with a soft hum, almost musical, vibrating in harmony with his heartbeat. For the first time, Ethan felt the true weight of his actions. Saving the drowning creature had led him to discover something far larger than he had ever imagined: a sentient life, a civilization in danger, and a bond that transcended species. The jungle around them was alive, but for the first time it seemed almost peaceful. Ethan looked at the alien, pale from shock earlier, now filled with awe and determination. He knew this was only the beginning. The hunters were still out there, the universe was vast, and humanity had a role to play, protecting life, discovering wonders, and facing the unknown with courage. And Ethan Vance was ready for it. The hidden valley was quiet, almost unnaturally so. Ethan Vance knelt beside the alien leopard-human hybrid, still marveling at the creature's shimmering patterns and partially humanoid form. The jungle around them seemed alive, but peaceful for the moment, a stark contrast to the chaos that had followed them from the river. Ethan's mind raced. The hunters were still out there, and their intelligence made them a formidable threat. They weren't ordinary predators, they were strategists, methodical and relentless. Ethan knew that waiting passively would not keep the alien safe. Humanity had a gift for problem-solving, for creating strategies on the fly, and tonight he would need every ounce of it. "Listen," he whispered to the alien, "we can't just hide. They'll find us eventually. We need a plan to outsmart them." The creature tilted its head, glowing patterns flickering rapidly. Its bioluminescence seemed to respond to his tone, a silent understanding forming between them. Ethan scanned the valley. Tall trees surrounded them on all sides, their thick trunks providing natural cover. Streams flowed in winding paths, and patches of dense undergrowth could serve as obstacles. He noticed clusters of sharp rocks and fallen logs that could be used as traps. His human mind, trained through years of exploration and survival, began to map out a plan. The first step was distraction. Ethan gathered heavy rocks, tying them to vines and positioning them near the valley entrance. The idea was simple: create noise, confusion, and lure the hunters into false paths. While setting the traps, he noticed the alien observing him closely. It moved with him, mimicking certain motions, adjusting his setups with precision he didn't expect. Together, human ingenuity and alien instincts formed a perfect collaboration. Night fell and the hunters arrived. Their movements were silent, almost mechanical, yet deliberate. Ethan crouched beside a boulder, heart pounding, while the alien hid just behind him. The hunter's glowing eyes scanned the valley, sensing the energy signature of the creature. They were close. Ethan activated the first trap. Stones tumbled down the slopes, snapping vines and creating loud crashes. The hunters paused, confused, scanning the valley in multiple directions. Ethan seized the moment, signaling to the alien. It leapt gracefully, following him through a hidden path he had noticed earlier, a narrow canyon partially concealed by ferns. The hunters quickly recovered, realizing the trap had been a ruse. Their pursuit intensified, and Ethan knew he had only one chance to stay ahead. He led the alien through twisting paths, using every knowledge of terrain he had acquired over the years. He ducked under low-hanging branches, leapt across streams, and climbed over rocks with surprising speed, keeping the alien close. By now, Ethan was beginning to trust the creature's instincts as much as his own. The alien's enhanced senses detected the hunters' positions before Ethan could, allowing them to avoid ambushes and navigate safely. He marveled at the synergy between human creativity and alien perception. Together, they were unstoppable. As they reached a narrow cliffside path, Ethan realized they were cornered. Below, the hunters blocked the valley exit, their numbers growing. Above, the cliff was steep and unstable. Ethan's mind worked rapidly. Humans could improvise, and he knew he had one final strategy. He instructed the alien to climb ahead and scout. The creature leapt effortlessly, reaching higher ledges, and using its bioluminescence to signal their path. Ethan followed cautiously, placing ropes and vines to secure the route. The hunters approached from below, their voices low but commanding. They had no idea how clever and resourceful humans could be, especially when lives depended on it. Reaching the top, Ethan saw a narrow plateau with thick tree coverage. He quickly created a series of small obstacles, fallen logs, sharp branches, and makeshift noise traps that would slow any pursuers. Then he whispered to the alien, "We'll hide here and make them think we vanished." The creature purred softly in agreement, its glowing patterns dimming to blend with the shadows. Hours passed. The hunters scoured the plateau below, their frustration evident in the low growls and mechanical clicks of their equipment. Ethan stayed still, listening intently, analyzing their strategy. The alien remained beside him, calm but alert. He realized that humans could endure tense waiting, observe carefully, and plan effectively, all traits that gave them an edge in survival situations. As dawn approached, Ethan felt a shift. The hunters had begun to disperse, their coordination faltering. He knew the moment had come for the next phase. Using the environment to their advantage, he prepared the final distraction. He gathered loose rocks and tied them strategically to vines along the cliffside. A series of careful pulls would create the illusion of movement in the trees and along the slopes, drawing the hunters into traps they could not escape. He motioned to the alien. Together, they activated the first sequence. Rocks tumbled down, vines snapped, and shadows flickered across the valley. The hunters, drawn to the noise, ran directly into the obstacles Ethan had set. Trees creaked, logs shifted, and branches snapped, creating chaos. Panic spread among the hunters. They were no longer organized, no longer in control. Ethan and the alien used the confusion to descend safely into a hidden canyon leading away from the valley. They moved silently, hearts pounding, muscles tense, yet calm in focus. Every step was precise, every movement calculated. Humans thrived under pressure, and Ethan's experience in extreme environments showed. By mid-morning, they reached a secluded grove filled with soft moss and flowing water. The alien settled down, exhausted but safe. Ethan knelt beside it, catching his breath, feeling pride swell within him. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, but here, on a distant planet, far from Earth, human ingenuity, courage, and empathy had saved a life and formed an interstellar alliance. "Look at you," Ethan said softly, placing a hand gently on the alien's shimmering body. "You're incredible, but we make a good team, don't we?" The creature purred, its patterns flickering brightly, reflecting mutual understanding. For the first time, Ethan felt that the galaxy was not just a dangerous place. It was a place where humans could shine, where compassion, intelligence, and bravery mattered. The alien projected a vision into Ethan's mind, a distant city of light, peaceful beings and a civilization under threat from the hunters. But it also showed Ethan something more. Humans were rare allies, beings capable of protecting life across the stars. His actions had proven that. Humanity's courage and quick thinking had made a difference. Ethan felt a wave of pride, not arrogance. It was a quiet, deep satisfaction, knowing that human traits, empathy, resourcefulness, courage, were recognized even by alien species. He had saved a life, yes, but he had also built a bond that could influence the fate of a civilization. Days passed in the grove, and Ethan continued to help the alien recover. He shared food, water, and knowledge of survival techniques. The alien began to communicate more clearly, projecting images and concepts that Ethan could understand with growing ease. They discussed strategies for evading the hunters permanently, for finding a safer haven, and perhaps even for sending a warning to its civilization. One morning, while resting near the stream, the alien turned to Ethan. Its glowing eyes met his. A faint pulse of light ran along its spine, signaling something profound. Ethan realized it was expressing gratitude, respect, and trust. Humanity had a unique ability, the capacity to inspire loyalty and forge alliances across species. He had done that without weapons, without dominance, just through courage, intelligence, and empathy. Then a thought struck him. This was not the end. The hunters were still out there, somewhere in Zyphera. But now Ethan knew they had an advantage. Together, human and alien could predict, plan, and survive. The jungle no longer felt threatening. It felt like a place where possibilities existed, a canvas for ingenuity and heroism. Weeks passed. Ethan and the alien trained together, learning each other's abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. They moved through the jungle with precision, avoiding threats and gathering information. Ethan used every skill he had acquired on Earth and in space: tracking, camouflage, improvisation, survival tactics. The alien contributed its natural agility, intelligence, and knowledge of Zyphera's terrain. They became an unstoppable team. Finally, the hunters returned, stronger and more numerous. But this time, Ethan was ready. Using a combination of traps, camouflage, and careful planning, he led the hunters into a series of elaborate diversions. The jungle itself became their ally. Trees, streams, and cliffs worked in concert with human creativity and alien perception. One by one, the hunters were neutralized, driven away, or left confused and disoriented. As the last hunter disappeared into the dense foliage, Ethan and the alien stood atop a cliff, looking over the valley. The sun of Zyphera rose, casting golden light over the jungle. The alien's patterns shone brightly, almost as if celebrating their victory. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he had never experienced on Earth or in space. "You did it," he whispered. "We did it together." The alien purred in response, leaping into the air and landing gracefully beside him. They had survived, outsmarted a dangerous enemy, and forged a bond stronger than any challenge. Ethan realized that humanity's strength was not just in technology or physical power, but in the qualities that made them unique: courage, empathy, intelligence, and the ability to act selflessly. He had proven that even on an alien world, humans could shine brightest. As the alien prepared to leave, returning to its civilization to warn and protect its people, it touched Ethan's hand gently. A pulse of light ran through them both, a silent acknowledgement of friendship, respect, and gratitude. Ethan felt pale no longer, replaced by awe and pride. He had faced the unknown, risked everything, and shown that humanity could protect life, bridge species, and triumph against impossible odds. The jungle was alive, the valley peaceful, and the stars above Zyphera twinkled as if acknowledging the human who had dared to act, to protect, and to survive. Ethan Vance knew one thing with certainty: humanity mattered. And wherever the universe held life, humans could make a difference. He watched the alien leap into the sky, glowing in the moonlight, and whispered, "Safe travels, my friend, and thank you for trusting me." The universe was vast, full of unknowns, but Ethan smiled. Humans had a place in it. They could face danger, protect the helpless, and shine brighter than any star. And he, Ethan Vance, had proven it. The adventure was far from over, but the victory was theirs. And for the first time, Ethan felt that anything at all, was possible.